I think you're good.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to MS Office Hours. Today is Thursday, March 2nd. Here are your hosts.
Hey, everyone. Heather Cox.
Hi there, Stephanie Stevens.
Victoria Dean.
And Garrett Chandler.
Garrett, you want to introduce our speaker today?
Oh man, it's my great honor to actually introduce the legendary Mike Tholfsen, joining in to talk about the Reimagine event and giving us a recap of all of the cool stuff that we announced for education customers. I think it's the learning accelerators. So Mike, if you want to do, even though you need no introduction, I'll turn it over to you for a brief intro and get us started.
Great, thanks. I'm uploading as I talk. Hey, I'm Mike Tholfsen from the Microsoft Education team, work on the product management team, and we build a lot of the different products that hopefully a lot of you know and use and love. And that includes Microsoft Teams for EDU, OneNote, Reading Progress, Immersive Reader, and a bunch of other stuff. And today I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we just announced in the last couple of weeks. And that's the Learning Accelerator at the Reimagine event. And I'm also going to do some what's new in Teams and Microsoft EDU as well. So it'll kind of be a bonus there. And as soon as my presentation pops up, which it hopefully will. Oh, wow. It's a slow loader today. This is where I have to tell some jokes. Where's a Kermit the Frog voice? Maybe you have to get that going here. Oh, you see it. Okay.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. Well, let me hold on 1 second here. Sorry, I'm having some technical snafus because I don't see it. I'm gonna just share my desktop. That might make it easier. Give me just a half a second here and I'll open that up. Yeah, it's there we go. It caught up to what you're seeing. Hallelujah. Okay, so we're going to have an agenda today. I just kind of mentioned that. We're going to do a Reimagine, recap, and then we're going to do some what's new in EDU. I'll do some demos, and hopefully we'll have a good time. Okay. So the Reimagine event was on February 9th. Hopefully some of you saw it, but if you didn't, the big announcement that we made was something called Learning Accelerators. And so what this is, if you know what Reading Progress is, or Reading Progress and Reading Coach, and we announced some new ones. So Math Progress and Math Coach, Search Progress, Search Coach, Speaker Progress, Speaker Coach. And if you think about those Progress and Coach pieces together, that's what we call a Learning Accelerator. So it's like, the Reading Accelerator, the Search Learning Accelerator. And we have a pattern where we want to make sure we're growing student engagement. We want to give real-time coaching and feedback where possible. So things like Reading Coach and Search Coach and Speaker Coach. And then also holistic data, meaning insights, just like you've seen in Reading Progress, for those of you that know what that is, giving the educator really useful insights. And we also announced as part of this, and it's not rolled out yet, so it's not available today, but in the next couple of months, Education Insights will be available at a system level or a district level free. So you'll be able to take all this data, whether it's assignments or learning accelerators or reflect, roll that data up. So that was another part of the announcement, was around Education Insights is now free at that sort of staff leader level or school district level. So like I said, Progress and Coach apps, Reading Progress and Reading Coach. That was the first of the learning accelerators. The Progress piece is always inside of Teams. So for example, in the future, if I was using Search Progress, that would mean a teacher creates a Search Progress assignment type. Students do the work. Maybe they get some coaching along the way with Search Coach. They turn in that Search Progress assignment. Teacher reviews it in the speed grader, and then there's insights and data to go along with it to show patterns over time. Very similar to Reading Progress for those of you that are familiar. So the Progress means really a Teams assignment type. A Coach means that personalized coaching. Now here's the kicker. Just like with Reading Progress, you've got Reading Coach inside of Teams. But we also want to make these coaches available outside of Teams. And I'll demo this a little later, we've just put Reading Coach into Immersive Reader. So if I'm using Word in the web and I open Immersive Reader, I can get Reading Coach. even if I'm not using Teams. It's personalized practice reading. So as a parent, I could say, hey, son or daughter, go practice reading an immersive reader with whatever content you want. Same thing with Speaker Coach. Speaker Coach has existed in PowerPoint for a long time. So if you had said speaker progress, that means, oh, now there's a way a teacher can make a specialized assignment type to practice public speaking and get insights and data and et cetera. So hopefully that explains the progress and coach concept. And here's a visual representation, the teacher creating the assignment, student completes it, teacher reviews it, and then the teacher tracks those progress and insights. And there could be a coach along the way to give that real-time coaching and feedback. So hopefully that makes it clear. And if it's not, let me know in the chat and I'll try to get a hold of it later. This is a great quote from the event. This is an educator in, I believe it was Belgium. And he said, with this technology, it's like there's 20 extra teachers in one classroom. And that's what a lot of educators tell us with reading progress. As an example, it helps them scale out and do a lot more work so they don't have to manually do all those things. So just as a high level recap of the biggest announcements. So learning accelerators, reading coach available in immersive reader. Also, and I'll have a couple slides later, reading progress is going to add reading comprehension questions, and education insights premium will be free to all. That's going to be next probably a couple months. It's not going to be like today. They have to do some work to set that up, but it's going to be free for all districts, state, country, whatnot. And then Windows 11, we announced some simple sign-in with both Clever as well as Google IDs to sign into Windows 11 devices. And then some fun Windows 11 EDU theme packs. So if you're like, oh, I missed the event, what were the top headline news items? That's the list right there. So now moving on, I'm going to go and we're going to cover a couple Teams updates. Now, the first one is Search Coach in Microsoft Teams. And just a backstory on this, I was personally involved. This was a hackathon project I started probably 4 years ago. It's kind of been bubbling around for a while. And a hackathon is kind of an experimental project where you just for a week try to come up with a new concept or idea and fiddle around with it. And it's like a science project. But over time, we've sort of iterated and noodled around and worked with a lot of educators and top experts. And we now have something called Search Coach, which is think about it as a tool to help with information literacy, because that is a challenge in the world today. A lot of students don't know how search engines work. They don't know how to look at results or who's behind the results or what's important or not. So I'm going to share my screen here and show a quick little Search Coach demo. And I'll just need people to, because I won't be able to see after I share my whole screen here. Can someone confirm they can see my screen? Verbally, maybe.
You are good.
Okay. So I'm here. Actually, I'll make it a little smaller so you can see how I started. I'm in a class team. Maybe I'm in a civics class team. And if you go to the plus menu here, you can add a Search Coach tab, right? You add a new app and Search Coach will show up in there. And you can just add that to your team really easily, like I've added here. And I'm going to go and make this full screen. It looks a little bit better. So the idea is, hey, I'm an educator. I want to work with my class on trying out in a safe environment, like a sandbox environment, different concepts of searching. And we've added our own UI layer on top of the Bing API. So you'll also see there's a search tip of the day. We give like kind of like, instead of a new image in Bing, we give different search tips and they rotate. And it's really teaching UI. So we teach about domain concepts, file types, date range, and operators as a default. So here's an example. First, I'm just going to do the old, are dogs better than cats? And we give a lot of information here where, when you do our dogs better than cats, you get all the reasons why dogs are better than cats. And we give you search tips to help understand those differences. We also can teach you concepts. Let's say I'm going to put in, this is all the rage these days, ChatGPT. And what I'm going to do, if I go in here, you're going to see there's all this different information that we label. So we have the platform where it's from and NewsGuard integration. So NewsGuard integrates. If you know what NewsGuard is, they rate lots of different sites. And so if I click on here, it's going to give me these NewsGuard information. So credibility, transparency. Maybe I want to know the full NewsGuard analysis. I can drill in, and NewsGuard will give me all sorts of information about TechCrunch in this case, its credibility, who owns it, who finances it. And so this starts to let students understand and know, okay, who's exactly behind these sites, and why are they doing these things, and understanding more about who finances sites, what's their transparency, what are these concepts. Now you can also do things like adding, we teach about domains. So in the case of, let's say, I'm going to do a COVID-19 search here. I'm going to open up domain, and you've got .com, .org, .gov, and .edu. So I can start to filter. So maybe I only want to do COVID-19, but I only want government sites and EDU sites. I don't want commercial sites. And so it's teaching you, I add site:/gov and site:/edu. So it starts to teach how these things work. And I hit go. And now I'm only filtered to .gov or .edu sites. So it's a different type of filter. And just that simple concept alone, a lot of students don't know that. A lot of adults don't either. Let's say I want to search on Brexit, but I want to look for the perspective of different countries. So down here, I want to look at Canada and maybe Australia. And so I've got all these different countries I can choose from. A lot of people don't know you can filter, site:/Canada, site:/Australia. So now when I hit go, all the results are just from Canada and Australia. So I can scroll down and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This NewsGuard rating is not very good. I open that up. I'm like, oh, proceed with caution. I might want to, drill into the full NewsGuard analysis and understand more details about this specific site, who owns it, and credibility, and lots of different information. So that's a way that exposes students to things that they might not previously be aware of. And then I can even do things like file type filtering. So, Harriet Tubman, and I'm going to look for only PDF files. A lot of people don't know you can add a file type :PDF or even PowerPoint. But if I just want PDFs on Harriet Tubman, now I can go and here's just PDFs. So now I can find that needle in the haystack potentially on Harriet Tubman. The last thing I'll show briefly is we even have the ability for teachers to control class settings. So as a teacher, I can choose backgrounds, but I can also add my own custom filters and custom buttons to help teach students about specific sites that I care about. I can create my own custom filter button. I can also turn on a fact check button. And this is, we give you some default fact check sites. If you want to teach students about the concept of fact checking, where they might go, different things, you can put whatever ones you want. We give you a few to start. Now, if I apply this, it adds a fact check button here, and it can let me filter across different sites. So if I want to say, was the moon landing faked? And I want to look at, factcheck.org. I click this and now it adds site:/factcheck.org. So it's only going to search across that site, and all the results that come up will tell me from this factcheck.org site about was the moon landing faked or not. So anyways, hopefully that gives you a sense of the basics. What we also provide for the educator, we even provide insights and backgrounds. So if I go into insights in my class team here, what you're going to see is actually, I think, oh, sorry, I apologize. My demo wasn't set up, but you have a set of insights so the teacher can see what the searches were, what the top words were, what the filters were, the domains used. And in the near future, we're going to be adding something called search progress. So back to that progress and coach flow, that's going to allow you to do things like, I want to make an assignment. I want to have students gather sources and citations and submit all that information along with their research paper. And so that's going to be something that rolls out in spring. We also announced that at the big Learning Accelerator Reimagine event. So hopefully I give you a sense of Search Coach and how that works. And let me come back in here. Yes, librarians are very excited. There's librarians. We worked with a lot of librarians on this product and when we were doing research and everything else around it. Let me just jump ahead and let me get back to where I was here. I mentioned Education Insights Premium is going to be available to all. That's going to be the next couple of months, so watch for that. We also announced reading comprehension questions are coming to Reading Progress. So an educator can add reading comprehension questions that would pop up after that student reads the passage. They could get reading comprehension questions. That has been a top request from a lot of educators. And also reading with expression is going to be a new type coming to reading progress. So you have accuracy, expression, and comprehension. So you can know, as a student reading with monotone, is a student missing a period? Like you might flag, oh, they blasted past the commas or the periods, or they paused for 5 seconds in the middle of their reading for no apparent reason. That's reading with expression. Now, the other big one that we announced was classwork. And this is something that is part of Teams for Education. And it's a way to manage all that course content. Another one of those top things that we've heard is that I want to be able to manage all my content, and I also want to be able to reuse that content year over year. And so, a lot of tools that you might use out there, Google Classroom has this concept, Schoology, many others. So we're adding a very similar concept. And so the way this is going to be in preview in spring and ready by back to school. But the way it works is that you have a team, and there is this new classwork over here that'll appear on the left-hand side. And you can have these different modules, as we call it. You can see 3 modules here. And I've got one pinned at the top. I've got some different modules for my math class. And the idea is, you can see there, I'm going to expand this. You can pin different types of content. I've got a class notebook page. I have a channel. I have a document. I've got a web link right here. You can have all sorts of materials pinned in the order that you want. You can drag, drop the ordering and make that available. And so that's a really nice way to organize all that stuff in Teams, right? Like that's the idea, is that we want to make it really easy to organize all this content. So the idea here is I have a way to add a module as well. We'll collapse that. And now what I want to do is, let's say I want to go and create a new module. I'm an educator. I'm getting my content ready. I click create a module. I can give it a title up there, and it's in draft format, so the students don't see it till I publish it. I can add materials. So maybe I want to add things like, I could add a document or a channel, whatnot. You click the plus button right there, and you can choose assignments. I can pop assignments in here. I can reuse existing assignments. So I'm going to select one from this class to pop in here. And you can put quizzes in here too. You can put whatever you want, and you can order it however you want. So we'll jump ahead and we'll assume that I've added my content here. Maybe I'm going to add a document and a web link or whatnot. And so that will fill up my module. And then the idea is I just go and publish that. And I publish that to my class. When my class goes, they get into classwork and they can see the different pieces of content that I want. So that is something that's going to be rolling out later in spring and preview and shipping for back to school. And this is what the student would see on their side. So we're really excited about classwork. We've made some gradebook improvements. We're going to be shipping grading categories very soon, and also average grade. So the student can see the average grade, teacher can see average grade. This is an example where the educator is adding categories, and you can weight them. So weighted categories are coming to the gradebook. That's also been a top request, and you can control those at a class level. This is one that I think there was way more excitement about this than I thought, but this is in public preview now. Automatic lowering of raised hands in meetings. They call it the legacy hand. You leave your hand up and you totally forget to put it down. Now what happens is, after you're done talking, it will go, well, you'll see, hey, we noticed that you've already spoke. Do you want to keep that hand up? We can lower it for you. New webinar experience. This is a really good one. Up to 1,000 people in a webinar, plus a whole redesigned experience. So when you make a webinar external, it makes a beautiful site. You can see I made one here with MicrosoftEDU and our webinar as a nice logo and speaker information. And then moving along from Teams into M365, Reading Coach and Immersive Reader. This one is super cool. And I'm going to switch back into my demo here. And Reading Coach is now rolled out into Immersive Reader. So what does that mean? It's in Word for the web. It is in, let me get my, there we go. Let me get my geography document here. It's in Word for the web. It's in OneNote. It's in Flip. It is in Teams assignments, and it's coming to a bunch of more places pretty soon. So here is Word for the web, and this has existed. If I go to the View tab and I go choose Immersive Reader, this has already been there. Hopefully all of you know all about Immersive Reader. If you go to Reading Preferences, there's a new Reading Coach here. It says New. And if I turn that on, the button right here in the bottom turns from a play button into a microphone. And I can even edit the reading coach. So if I want to customize the coach, I can choose a voice I want. I can choose pronunciation sensitivity. So maybe you've got a really young reader at home, or maybe you got someone who's more experienced. You can practice with other languages because this is supported in 116 languages. So if I go and hit right here, start reading, just like you've seen in Teams, so I'll get a countdown and I'll start reading. The study of Earth's landforms is called physical geography. Landforms can be mountains and valleys. They can be glaciers. You go ahead and read it or good as bad as you want. And when you hit stop, you get this little reading report. Now, my accuracy wasn't very good because I didn't get very far and I read a bunch of words wrong. But it tells you the amount of time you spent reading, the correct words per minute, and the words you might want to practice. And so if you click practice words, here's some of the words that I was mispronouncing.
These words were the most challenging for you. Select any word to tackle them again.
So I can get, physical or, go in here.
When you're ready, press the microphone and read the word out loud.
So you can stretch the word, you can hear it.
Physical.
And then you can practice reading it out loud, and it'll give you that real-time feedback. And as you go along, you can go through all these different words, and it's the same type of thing. So Reading Coach is built right into Word for the Web, and that is available today. And so that's a great one. If you have, maybe there are educators or people at your school or parents who say, we don't use Teams, but man, we'd love to practice reading and some of those reading progress technologies. That is definitely something that you should consider because now anybody can use this. One more thing I want to show, because we had talked about some of the OneNote fans. So I'm here in OneNote desktop, and I've got the sort of the classic view of pages on the right, sections at the top, and notebooks on the left. So we've had a lot of people have said, gosh, I'd like it to look more like the OneNote for Windows 10, and I want it to look like the Mac, so it all looks the same. Really nice thing. First, I'm going to go here and say simplified ribbon to make that ribbon a little smaller. But here's the kicker. On the View tab, there's this new tabs layout button. And if I choose vertical tabs, bang, everything switches over, so it all sort of looks similar to all the other apps. And you can collapse all this, so you just have it like this. You can still go full screen just like you go before. You can even show your pen toolbar right at the top there if you want that. So this is in Insiders right now. So if you're an Office Insider, you'll get the horizontal tabs versus vertical tabs. But that one is pretty nice because we know that's been a top request. And now you can kind of have all your OneNotes look the same. We've also heard that a lot of the younger students like that more simplified view. So I'm going to jump back into my deck and finish out the last set of few things that we've got here. Then I'm happy to stop for a few questions. So give me just a minute. PowerPoint Live is chugging along. There we go. The other nice thing we've added to OneNote Desktop and iPad is the Math Assistant. So now when you go into Math, you can get some of the nice Math Assistant features over here and do a lot of the math solver work if you've seen that in Windows 10. So that is right there. That is rolled out now. Another one that's actually been very popular and big request for schools is pronoun support in M365. And so now you're going to be able to add, if you want, you can add pronouns here. So here's an example. She had she, her. And that is in the process of rolling out. I think it is in actually March is when it's happening. Dictate in OneNote for the Mac. So for those of you that are Mac users and lovers, we now have dictation in, I don't know, like 50 plus languages. And that is, I believe it's fully rolled out or it's in insider preview. It's very close to rolling out broadly. And then for our Minecraft friends, they recently had a new logo. So if you're into logos, and now it's Minecraft Education is their official name. It's no longer Education Edition. It's Minecraft Education. And then they also have a new course, Privacy Prodigy. I shouldn't say course. It's like a new build, I guess they call it, that teaches students all about the importance of privacy in the digital world, but it's inside of Minecraft. So we have links at the end of this deck if you want to grab that. Someone had mentioned the new Outlook video. So if you saw that, there's a new Bookings with Me feature in Outlook, hugely popular in K-12 and higher ed. And nobody knows it's there. A lot of people don't know about bookings. You need to have the A3 subscription. So it's not in the free version of Office, but it is in the A3 version for those of you that know what that is. The Bookings with Me allows you to set up office hours so anyone can book your calendar and do kind of complex calendar navigations really easily. For educators and at higher ed in K-12, it's super powerful. Loop is rolled out in Outlook for the web. That's the real-time collaborative part. Really great for, in my latest video on YouTube, I show some kind of TPS report related scenarios if you like to see about TPS reports in Office space. But Loop allows real-time collaboration in tables and checklists and tasks all through email or through the Loop component or in Teams. Wherever that Loop component lives, you can do real-time collaboration. You can embed YouTube links in Outlook for the web. It's a small thing, but it's kind of nice. And then we've also just are starting to roll out Loop component support in Whiteboard. So you can now take that Loop component, you can have it in Outlook for the web, you can have it in Teams, you can have it in Whiteboard. Hopefully they're going to add it to OneNote at some point. That'd be great too. So as we're doing Q&A, I'll just say there's a bunch of links in this deck, which is available as well. If you want to file a feature request or vote for one, there's all the links. Bunch of resources and links about Reimagine, what's new in EDU, the Search Coach blog, this blog, that blog, lots of PD. And then lastly, if you want deep dive videos on all this stuff, I've got deep dive videos on my YouTube channel. I have links there. And I will put this right here for folks who want to grab a copy of this deck. You can share it, you can copy it, you can modify it, you can, tweet it, you can do whatever you want. This link is also in the webinar that we recorded last month for What's New in EDU. So I've got 4 minutes for questions. I'm happy to answer them. And hopefully this is helpful.
Yes, this was awesome. Don't everybody jump at once. You've got a lot of love happening in the chat.
I was going to say they're so overwhelmed. Yeah, I did drop, although he's got it in his deck and everything, I did drop Mike's YouTube channel. I dropped Mike's TikTok in there. Yeah,
and the deck link, if you can grab that deck link.
Yes, I did. I grabbed
great.
that as well. I didn't grab it in the AKA version, but I had clicked on it so they can access it as well. But anything else as we close this out? Probably just overwhelmed with the wealth of information. I do love the TPS reports. Yeah,
so many good gifts.
Enough people on this call definitely have seen that movie. That's for sure.
When I worked at Circuit City in high school, I swear to you, I worked for Lumberg at a Circuit City. Like a cousin, distant relative for sure. Awesome.
Well, Mike, we just want to say thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it so much, folks. I will get this the recording loaded as quickly as possible onto our YouTube channel, which, by the way, for those of you who click on the link in my email, I know that the recording link is not working. I've got to fix the link. But if you are in our office hours team, it is in there. We have it already, pinned at the top as a tab. Again, thank you, Mike. We so appreciate you giving us your time here today. And with that, I'll stop the recording. And we will see this beautiful group next week. We were so happy to be back.